listening to the best radio station on Long Island.
As voted by Long Islanders like you in the Bethpage Best of Long Island Awards.
The voice of Nassau Community College.
This is the award-winning 90.3 WHPC HD Garden City.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Play WHPC.
And available on Odyssey, TuneIn, iHeart, and on the WHPC app.
90.3 WHPC.
relax. I can't sleep 'cause my bed's on fire. Don't touch me, I'm a real live wire.
90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College.
I just got this, bro.
You just got this? Good.
You're very slick.
Yeah, that's sometimes, when you read about 92 guns found in a alleged mass murder house.
Any home, yes.
There might be something there. 516-572-7440. My name is Rob Leonard. This is From the Press Box. Here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Besides me, the real person you should be listening to is Timothy J. Leonard.
Yes, who would really like his show notes, brother?
Where are they?
To the left, your left.
Oh. Anyway, Timothy J. Leonard, besides being my brother, is an award-winning sports writer. We talk sports every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We are part of the Sports Talk family. Sports Talk Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then every Tuesday from 11 p.m. to midnight. We're here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. 516-572-7440. And, brother, if you remember last week, we were talking about the Mets. What did they have to do to maybe get to the playoffs? They had to go basically 50-22. 72 games left.
Had they played 90 games? I don't even remember.
Yes, they had.
All right, I'll take your word for it. But yeah, that's basically it. And what did they do this weekend?
They were 1-2.
2 out of 3 to the Dodgers.
So there's a very good chance that they were not going to make the playoffs. Based on what I saw last night.
I don't know that you can base that on 3 games against arguably one of the top teams in baseball.
Yeah, but you got to beat the top teams in baseball.
I agree 100%. It was certainly the word inauspicious was made for starts to the second half like this one. The Mets actually scored 3 whole runs against the Dodgers and still managed to win one of the games, which is pretty much a miracle. And that was yesterday when Max Scherzer pitched like you expect Max Scherzer to pitch.
Right.
And the Mets wound up winning the game in 10 innings.
But they almost lost it.
Yes, well.
Because they took Max Scherzer out, I think, an inning too early because he was pitching well, and there was no reason to take him out.
How many pitches had he thrown, brother?
I think it was like 97.
All right. Well, maybe it was because, Buck saw something or he didn't want – Maybe the numbers say that Scherzer, third time through the lineup, isn't such a good thing. There's reasons for all of that. So it's
why after
it's
when they come up the third time they realize how he's pitching.
Yeah,
come on.
Hitters. What you need to understand about major league hitters, brother, is they are incredibly smart when it comes to figuring out pitchers. That's what makes them elite hitters. Yes, it's hand-eye coordination. Yes, it's bat-to-ball talent. But it's a matter of figuring out what the pitcher is going to do before he does it. I remember a story. I'll tell you a quick story.
Okay.
Bob Clappish, columnist. I worked with him at the Bergen Record.
Right.
He's been a columnist for most of the papers in New York. He was pitching. Clapp would pitch in media leagues, and he was a pretty good pitcher. He pitched in college. He one time faced Lou Piniella. Piniella grabbed the bat and said, let me hit against you. And Clappish thought he was being clever, And he thought he was gonna. He thought, he was one of those guys who said, "Oh yeah, Lou Piniella. Yeah, what is Lou? Lou's never faced my heat. He was that kind of guy." And Piniella set up Clappish because he swung at one pitch, he looked at two more, and then Clapp decided to come in with the pitch that Lou knew was coming because Lou figured him out that quickly, and Lou smoked it. And Clapp said, "Geez, you hit that like you knew it was coming." And Piniella said to him, "I did."
Okay, so
that's what great hitters do.
Then why have a pitcher go pitch more than 2 innings? Come on, every 2 innings, take him out.
That's what Tampa Bay Rays have been doing.
I know that, but that's not how you win.
Well, it is how you win. Tampa Bay's been winning. They've been doing it and winning doing it. But the point being that when you have elite pitchers, when you have somebody like Garrett Cole or Max Scherzer, that when they throw hellacious fastballs, as Crash Davis once said, or did he say hellacious curveballs? Whatever. But guys like that are elite talents.
Well, hold it, brother. There was a thing. I'm watching the game last night, and they're talking about Tom Seaver. Okay. And Tom Seaver had a thing in his office. He had an office, I guess. They were talking about it. And they said, "What's in the cabinet over there?" Because it was more like a bedroom thing where you pull the drawers out. Okay. And he goes, "Oh, those are all the balls that I won games with a shutout." And the whole thing was full.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm just saying.
Tom Seaver was good.
Yeah, but he pitched 9 innings. You don't get a shutout for 7 innings. You get a shutout for 9 innings.
Well, that's the game has changed, brother. The game when you can bring in a relief pitcher who throws 100. Why stay with a starter whose fastball is fading down to 94?
I don't know.
That's why the game has changed.
Yeah, but then if you're pitching well and then the new guy comes in, he can't pitch. Then what do you do?
Well, that's the issue.
That's the issue. Anyway, brother, we have John from Freeport on the line. Hello, John. How you doing? Welcome to From the Press Box.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm a big Met fan. It's so disappointing. The thing is, what is with Buck Showalter using these middle relievers when it's time for Robertson? Why did he let them tie up the game? I don't understand it. He did it last week too. In a tight game, when you have Robertson available, he lets the game get tied up or out of hand. I can't remember if he lost that one or not. It was inexplicable, and eventually he did bring in Ottavino and Robertson, I think.
Well, Ottavino I don't trust. That goes back to my Yankee days. I mean, Ottavino, to me, he's either going to be very good and God, there will be tons of swing and miss, or he's going to get hit. There's no real in between with Ottavino. Robertson, I don't know what – I mean, there were a lot of people wondering why Robertson wasn't in the game last night. And at that moment, he probably should have been. But, that being said, the Mets wound up winning the game, so it didn't hurt them. But, yeah, I understand what you're saying in terms of when at that point of the game, you got to bring in your guy. Because, you don't if you don't – I know some managers like to save their quote-unquote closers for the ninth inning. And Buck has brought in Robertson earlier and sometimes. You got to – that guy, when you don't have an established closer, and I don't regard Robertson as an established closer for the Mets. He has been closing, but I don't regard him as their guy. You have to bring him in at the most critical moment. And Buck didn't do that last night or yesterday.
Yeah, the guy on TV, he was, I guess, Gary Cohn or whatever, but he's like, Robertson hasn't pitched in 10 days. He's all fresh. I think he could probably go 6 outs here. And then, he got completely – I know Buck Showalter's not listening to him, but he got completely ignored. They brought in some – I don't even remember who it was. I know who the second one was, but the first guy, puts him on first and second, and then they tie up the game in the eighth, and he brings in Robertson in the 10th. So we got lucky in the 10th, or we won in the 10th. So I'm happy we won, but it should have been a 1-0 shutout with Robertson closing, and he seems to do it all the time. When they came back last week from like a 7-4 game, or we had a big lead, and he kept bringing in bad relievers, and then eventually, but he had
that
Robertson
Brigham guy
available.
seemed to pitch a lot last week.
Right? Yeah. All right, I got to hang up. I got to go back to work. But fill me in on the new guys that they brought. Like one of them is it Turner, something like that. One of the guy that pinch ran last night.
I'm going to have to double check, but yeah. Trevor Gott was the reliever that they picked up in the trade, and that was the deal where they got Flexen too, but they immediately let Flexen go because they already know he's bad because he used to pitch for them. But
Yeah, somebody pinch ran for him last night. I think they have a position player that's up. I think they sent the other third baseman down when they brought up the three rookies. I think they sent one of them back down.
I'm gonna have to double check. I'm not sure the various transactions. I don't know.
There's
look for
a
a
few
Turner in there.
small players.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll track it down and we'll find out.
No Turner.
Yeah, Vogelsong's been playing better. Vogelsong got on base and they threw in a pinch runner for him, and he stole second base.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Great show.
Okay, thanks, John. Take care.
Thanks, John.
90.3 WHPC 516-572-7440. You're listening to From the Press Box. We'd love to hear from you.
We love it when people call in.
Yeah, we do. Anyway, brother. So anyway, getting back to the Mets, I agree. And this thing with the guy in second has to go. It has to go, brother.
It is what it is, brother. It's going to stay around for this year. I am very much against it as well. I think most of baseball is against it, but it's here for this season. So
I know
relax.
that. I'm saying, but I'm talking about for next season when they say, hey, let's start him at third. That's my problem with it, brother. They said, oh, let's start him at third. Why don't we start him at 45 feet from home?
Well, no, that's just Ellie Dela Cruz does that.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So anyway.
Oh, this was DJ Stewart. He said Turner. John said Turner. DJ Stewart is, I believe, a minor leaguer who was called up recently. But he was the guy that pinch ran for Vogelbach last night.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, that's.
And also, the game last night was at 5 o'clock instead. It was supposed to be, I guess, an ESPN game, and I guess it got changed, and people were upset because it rained earlier in the day, and then people weren't sure that it was going to cancel it because that's what happens. One drop comes down. We're canceling it, but you can't because the Dodgers are a West Coast team. So
yeah, but I mean the reason that they do that, brother, is because they're looking at the weather report, and if they don't find a window that they can at least get a few innings in, and especially nowadays when they're playing the game faster. They're not going to keep people there for 3 hours with their fingers crossed, hoping that they're going to play. I mean, they look at the weather and they see this is what's going to happen. And if it's going to just keep raining, we're not going to keep people here.
I would believe that if they closed it down really early, because sometimes people get the game 2 hours before the game. They want to watch batting practice or hang out. They're going to pay for their parking. It's not cheap parking at Citi Field, or take the train. You have to walk a mile from Long Island Railroad to Citi Field. Come on. It's just something that bothers me, brother. Anyway.
Yes, I know, brother. You're definitely bothered by that.
Yes, I am. Anyway, so the Mets, I don't know. Like I said, they're 1-2 right now since the All-Star break. They have to go 50-22 to maybe make the playoffs. I'm not sure that's going to happen at this point. Though I thought Scherzer pitched good yesterday. But like I said, I keep him in there. I know you just told me why, but I still believe that a real starting pitcher has an advantage.
Well, I mean, like I said, there's reasons for why all of this happens, brother.
I know, but I think it's guys sitting down who haven't played baseball. It's like, well, maybe in my computer baseball game it worked this way, and Well,
no, Scherzer went 7 innings yesterday.
I know he should have won 8.
Well. I mean, you got to have some faith in your bullpen. That being said, though, Trevor Gott, the guy we just mentioned who got the Mets traded for, he gave up a couple of hits in a run. Brooks rarely came in. He got the last 2 outs of that inning, and then Robertson wound up pitching 2 innings because Gott gave up the run that tied the game.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about, brother. So anyway, let's go Mets. Anyway, quickly, brother, the Yankees are now tied with the Red Sox for 4th place in the AL East. Of course, the AL East is still the best division in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, but that's depressing.
But it is depressing, but also that the fact that the Yankees and the Red Sox are now tied is not good for Yankee fans because they're like going crazy that the Red Sox are now even with them. So
well, yeah, with good reason.
Yeah. So, but Sunday the Yankees lost to the Rockies 8-7, brother.
The Yankees, first of all, did everything they could to give that game away. I watched the game. I watched the game from probably, I think, the 4th inning until the end, and I was disgusted. So I don't know how else to say it. It was horrible. the Rockies gave the Yankees a couple of runs just throwing the ball around like a little league team that they couldn't catch. And you figure, all right, hey, the Yankees finally get this game won. And then, who was it came on? I think it was Marinaccio. And then loaded the bases. Clay Holmes winds up giving up a grand slam to C.J. Cron. It was horrible. And I don't know how else to describe it because it was kind of anticlimactic,
right? In
the sense that
Listen,
I don't even know how to explain it.
You can't talk about it.
I'm so frustrated. I'm just looking. Yeah, Canely came in. I'm just looking at the numbers now. Canely came in. Walk, then a strikeout, then a single. Then another single loads the bases. Then Clay Holmes comes in. Canely is so upset that he like goes to punch the water cooler in the dugout. And again, Crash Davis, lesson on life. At least he punched it with his left hand. But then Clay Holmes comes in and like I don't know, second or third pitch, boom, grand slam. Right. And it wasn't even it wasn't even like a towering shot. It was a line drive bullet that got over the left center field fence in a hurry. Bader was barely able to take 3 or 4 steps, and the ball was boom. It was landing in over the fence, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go. And it's 5-3, and then the Yankees come back in the next inning and score 2 and get the game tied, and then they took the lead in what was it the top of the 11th, and then Nolan Jones immediately home run off of Ian Hamilton in the bottom of the 11th, and then who's this guy Trejo, whatever his name is? I don't even know what his name is. Never hit a home run this season. Plays in Colorado. Doesn't hit a home run.
How can that be?
But he hit a home run against the Yankees to win the game.
You're supposed to hit home runs.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Anyway, we have Hank on the line from Seaford. Hello, Hank. Welcome back from the press box. What do you got to say?
Hey. All right. How you guys doing? Okay?
Good, Hank. What's going on?
All right. Very good. I'm going to be Monday morning quarterbacking now. I'm not a prophet, so.
Well, it is Monday morning, Hank. So go for it.
Yes, that's right. It looks like to me, and probably you guys would agree that maybe Cohen thought that last year was the big year, and they had the bullpen. They won 101 games. They were in first place most of the year.
They were,
and they just choked at the end. And maybe he thought it could have been a repeat, but I think age, injuries, losing Diaz, just Mets bad luck, whatever you want to call it. But I guess my question is, do you think, with the trade deadline coming up, do you think they're going to make some big moves? Do you think they're going to just hold tight? Do you think? I guess it comes down to, does he want to eat a lot of money? Or does he want to shake the team up? You know what I mean?
Cohen doesn't care about eating money, first of all.
No, you can't say that.
No, he doesn't. He does. The Escobar trade to the Angels is proof of that. Because they paid most of Escobar's contract so they could get 2 pretty good prospects from the Angels. Because otherwise, if you trade an Escobar, you're getting nothing. You're getting some guy in the Dominican Summer League who's 18 years old and you don't even know what he's going to be. That's a lottery ticket. The Mets got a couple of – granted, according to MLB.com, they were the 19th and 20th best prospects in the Angels system. But if you can get a ranked prospect, 2 of them for Eduardo Escobar, at this point, that guy can't even play for the Mets. The only reason the Angels got him was because they desperately needed somebody to play third base. And they were willing to give up 2 prospects for him because Steve Cohen was willing to eat money.
Yeah, well, eating money's different, brother. I think
that's what we just said.
Yeah, but what that leads to Verlander, and that leads to Scherzer. You're going to trade them at the end of the season and eat their salary too?
Some of it. Some of it's going to be required. Here's the deal. Scherzer and Verlander certainly haven't pitched like you'd expect.
No.
They haven't pitched according to their baseball cards, as the saying goes. Now, that being said, Scherzer was outstanding yesterday. He was outstanding. 7 innings, 1 hit.
Yeah.
You don't get much better than that. Verlander has been pretty up and down, but he's been more good than bad. But he hasn't been a Cy Young winner.
Yeah, but at the same time, we have a team that can't score.
Well, and that's the issue for the Mets right now.
If they would score 4 runs a game or 3 runs a game even, it might be different. It was like the Islanders. They couldn't get over 2 goals.
Well, Hank, I was going to say this later in the show. I'm starting to be of the opinion that both the Mets and the Yankees should be sellers at the trade deadline. I think the Yankees need to do what they did a few years ago when they traded Chapman to the Cubs, when they traded Andrew Miller to, what was it, the Indians, I think it was back then, the Indians, now the Guardians. I think that's what they need to do. I think you need to find a new home for Gleyber Torres, see if you can get somebody to take DJ LeMahieu's contract, and see what you can get for some of your other guys and get prospects in return for them. And see if you can find a new Gleyber Torres and because right now, I mean, for me, the Yankees, a really massive issue for the Yankees is their offense is completely struggling. Josh Donaldson has been an empty space at third base, and I mean his contract is expiring anyway, so you need another third baseman at some point anyway. But with Judge being out for as long as he's been out, it shows that the Yankees really are reliant on him, and if he's not around, there's no offense. Stanton has woken up in the last week or so after the All-Star break. Before yesterday, he had like 4 home runs in his last 4 games. But he's a guy, to me, that if you can give him away, because his salary is just a drain on the Yankees' payroll, and he's producing at below average level numbers. So why are you paying a guy $27 million to do that?
Yeah, I guess the next question is how many ball clubs are willing to, reciprocate a trade. I mean, I know Cohen's going to have to eat some money and stuff, but do some contenders want a 40-year-old or a guy hitting 200? I mean, they're taking a gamble just like the Mets are. But I agree. I think the Mets particularly should be traders, buyers, looking to shake up the team.
Well,
I think the plan is also to keep building on their farm system, because I think they do have a couple of good prospects, and then I guess deal with it over the winter, and then next year's another year.
Yeah, I got something to say about that. One of the problems is that Cohen came in and he wanted to win right away, and he last year's team was very good. They didn't continue it. That was the problem. Yeah. I think he doesn't want to wait 5 years. And there was something I saw. It was either yesterday's paper or there was something. There was a picture of the starting team, basically, for the Braves, and it had the years underneath at their legs of when their contracts expired, and they were all either 2028 or 2029.
Yeah, the Braves have done a great job.
So the Braves for the next 5 years, are going to be the Braves that you see today.
Yeah.
So you got to get beyond that, but at the same time, you got to be at least the wild card team. And
but let me interrupt
I'm not sure
you
the
for a
Mets are
second,
going to be in
bro.
first place.
Let me interrupt you for a second.
Please do.
That is because the Braves have done everything the right way. They have most of the guys on the Braves team are homegrown.
Right.
They've made trades. They made trade for Matt Olson. They made a trade for Sean Murphy. They signed both of those guys to long-term deals. Acuna is signed long-term. Spencer Strider is signed long-term. Every significant player on that team has signed a long-term, team-friendly, those are the key words, team-friendly contract. Even Acuna might have the best team-friendly contract in baseball. The Braves are just stealing money from him. Well, he should be making it probably twice what he's making, and he signed for like the next 9 years. So, yeah, these Braves, like you said, this is the Braves you're going to see. And
right.
they're young, they're good, and they're locked up. So they're not going anywhere. If you think the Braves are going anywhere, the Braves are just going to get better.
So a team like the Mets, if they can make the wild card, at least they get into the playoffs. Steve Cohen didn't buy this team to wait 5 years.
Yeah,
so.
No, I think he said something like when he first bought the team, he wanted to within 3 years, I think, be a contender.
Yeah.
Some kind of quote or something like that.
Yeah, I thought he said he wanted to win the World Series. I don't know if it was 3 years or 5 years. I thought it was 5 years, but I mean, he said he wanted his goal. I remember him saying, "We want to win the World Series."
Hank,
quickly.
The Mets losing last year the way they did. Last year probably should have been the year, and then they just fell apart. So.
Yeah, but like Hank said, I mean, this team has gotten old together this year. Oof. I mean, that's a big part of what's going on. There's a lot of underachieving performances, and there's a lot of guys on this roster who have gone from being either very good or at least good players to being at best pretty good players. And pretty good doesn't win you the World Series.
No, it doesn't. No.
Can I ask you guys another question?
Yeah,
Go for it, Hank.
Yeah. Okay. I missed the first 5 minutes of the show, but and I think you touched on it a little bit.
It was outstanding, by the way.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I was out working, but what do you think of David Wells' comments? Calling the commissioner a tool, and he hates baseball, and yeah, I actually agree with Wells.
Lots of people have opinions about Rob Manfred, and there are times when I think he's a tool also. But I'll be honest, I don't really put too much stock in anything that David Wells says. I do. He's a bit of a crackpot.
I love
days.
David Wells.
I put as much stock in what David Wells says as I do as what Goose Gossage says. I expect him to pop off every once in a while, and I expect him to say something stupid.
Well, I know you don't like Roger Goodell. Brother. But I'm just saying.
What does he have to do with
I'm just talking about commissioners. Manfred is
very few people like commissioners.
But there are people who look out for the game, and there are some people who do what Manfred does.
Manfred works for the owners. In
right.
fact,
Manfred said, "Hey,
every commissioner these days."
Yeah, I
works
know they
for
work
the
for the owners, and that's
what
what they should be doing. But they're this starting at second base, that goes through him. That goes through his office.
Well, it's not like he's making unilateral decisions.
Yeah, but he's pushing it. He agrees with it. He says, I go with it.
And like this whole thing about making new divisions,
right?
The thing that Cousin Corey talked about, that we talked about with him a couple of weeks ago. That I think that's a disastrous decision.
It is
if it happens. I'm hoping it doesn't happen. But I mean, because Manfred wants to put the Mets, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Phillies in the same 4-team division.
Yeah,
that would be idiotic. It would be absolutely idiotic. And to do that, I think it makes no sense to me why you would want to create a division like that. And it just makes me sick.
Here's another thing. I was going to bring this up in a couple of minutes, Hank, but this is something I was going to bring up. Look at the All-Star game on Tuesday. The old days, the players used to come out in their home uniforms. It was something special that they were all playing together. Now it looks like a beer league that's happening at Cedar Creek Park. Because you know where Cedar Creek Park is, and they have a lot of beer leagues there. So
it's in Seaford, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Seaford. So to me, let's go back to and let's go back to the original uniform. Second of all, they're doing it specially so the people who have to buy uniforms or jerseys, and this happens not just for baseball. Oh my God, I got to go buy the American League one, and I paid $100 for it. It's idiotic.
Yeah. Or I'm a massive Fernando Tatis fan. I got to go buy his All-Star jersey now.
Right. So
what's one thing that I like about David Wells?
What's that?
And it's not related to anything we've been talking about. I was just thinking of it while we're talking. He paid $100,000 for a cap that Babe Ruth had owned, and then they wore it, and I think he pitched the game and won.
Yeah, he wore it for an. I want to say he paid it was $30,000 or $40,000. I don't think it was $100,000.
I don't think it was $100,000.
But that being said, Joe Torre was really. I can't say the word that he was. He was really angry. Let's say.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, really? Like
I didn't know. I'm just thinking that's a pretty cool thing.
Oh, I thought it was kind of cool, but Torre was livid when he didn't see Wells go out to the mound with the cap on, but when Wells got back to the dugout, Torre aired him out and told him take that effing hat off, and then the league got a hold of it, and Wells wound up getting fined for it.
So I don't know why they would matter.
I mean, technically it's not the standard uniform.
Even
though was it a hat with an NY? Yes, it was, but it was
according to
an old logo.
A couple of pages here. $35,000 is what he paid for.
Yeah, that's what I said. 30, 40.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm in the range.
All right.
And it says here that he eventually sold the cap, for $537,000.
What?
That can't be right. That can't be right. But
it was worn by Babe Ruth and David Wells.
Well, yeah.
See, Hank gets my sense of humor.
Thank you. Well, Hank, we appreciate you calling in, man. Thanks, and call back next week if you want.
All right. Have a great day, and you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. Tell more friends.
Thanks, Hank. Take care.
Take care, man. Bye-bye. 90.3 WHPC. From the press box on your radio or your listening device, so you got nccradio.org, the iHeartRadio app, TuneIn.com, Odyssey, the WHPC app. And, of course, if you go to Alexa and say, hey, Alexa, play WHPC, it will.
Can I say, yo, Alexa?
No, it doesn't work.
No?
No, it doesn't work. So anyway,
New York version.
also this show becomes a podcast later on. So if you're tuning in right now, or if you're shutting us off right now, like both Hank and John were calling from work, so you don't want to get caught calling us from work.
Call from work.
No, you don't want to lose your job.
Put the show up on the speakers at work.
That's different.
Come on.
That's different. So anyway, brother, speaking of the All-Star game, again, like I said, the uniform thing was, they just
But
look
they've
horrible.
been doing that for years, and
I
I
know,
agree.
but it looks
They do
horrible.
look horrible. I mean, every year there is a reaction to the uniforms, and I saw Claire Smith, friend of the show, Claire Smith,
Right.
And she was critical of it on Twitter because she was like she couldn't even tell what color it was.
Yeah, well,
And I was like, yeah, I got that. In fact, just to put it out, Claire Smith was just honored with the Red Smith Award as a impactful journalism career.
Yeah, well,
so
we've had her on the show. She's
Congratulations to her. I was actually kind of hoping to get her on today, but they've been doing that for a while, and I agree with you. I would love it to see it go back to the players wearing their own uniforms, and to see the collage of major league teams all over the diamond, and fine, get them like one hat. National League wears one hat, American League wears another hat.
I'll go with
so
that.
You're not wearing your individual caps, but you're wearing your uniforms, and I think that would be the way to go. But this is where we are. This is where we are in the era of merchandising, where you need a new jersey for everything, you need new uniform for everything, and like you said, the NBA does it, the NHL does it. The NFL probably does it too. Although I don't know anybody who actually pays attention to the All-Pro game.
No one does.
But that's where we are in sports these days, and it's annoying. It's frustrating. I can't stand it, but that is what it is.
Well, also the other thing is they had a red carpet thing too the day of the game.
Yeah,
like come on,
That's baseball's desire, brother. They want to make everything an event now, and some of that goes back to Scott Boras. It doesn't go back to Rob Manfred necessarily. It goes back to
there's another
Boras
guy destroying the game
because he wants, and he has tried to be influential with baseball becoming more of an event-based sport.
You can't do that. I'm sorry.
He wants everything to be like the Super Bowl.
You can't though. You lose interest because not every game is the Super Bowl. Even a Super Bowl game.
I'm not talking about every game, but something like the All-Star game, something like the World Series. He wants those to be events and not just games. And I there's part of me that agrees with him, and I can at least see his argument. I don't necessarily agree that, yes, they should do it, but I see his argument, and I see the reasons why he's looking to do that and looking to impact the game in that way. Now, that being said, if you look at the All-Star game and what the All-Star game has become, when you have starting pitchers now who can throw 100, and Garrett Cole comes in, pitched a 1 through 2-3 innings, start the game. Granted, 2 of those outs were pretty damn special plays by outfielders at the fence.
Right.
But Garrett Cole pitched a 1-2-3 inning. Then you had a bunch of relievers who come in. Pretty much every one of them can throw 100 miles an hour. So you're not going to get high-scoring games anymore. This is what happened, 3-2. And I'm blaming the Baltimore Orioles entirely for this loss. The pitcher, Felix Bautista, is their closer. The catcher, Adley Rutschman, is their catcher. This is all on the Baltimore Orioles.
Okay.
Because they called the pitch, they threw the pitch, and Elias Diaz of the Colorado Rockies parked the pitch over the fence. 3-2, National League wins.
Okay.
Breaks a nine-game losing streak.
Okay.
All on the Baltimore Orioles.
I'll go with that. I do like the home run derby, even though I think it's become less special the way interleague games have become very less important. So but I like the home run derby for what it is.
Before we move off,
you know what I like. You know what I like about the home run derby.
That?
They have the little kids running in and out of the outfield to catch the balls that don't hit the
they don't catch
home
them.
run.
No, they're just running around.
I know it's funny. It's because they're like 7 years old. They're like ah.
What did I want? I want this on the record, brother, because I didn't get to talk about it on the show last week. But what did I say to station manager Sean Novat just before we left the studio last week? And Sean was talking about how he had a small wager on Pete Alonso to win.
I have no idea.
And I said to him just before we walked out of the office, I said, I really think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to win this thing.
Well,
even though he was a
him,
6th seed.
You've picked him for the last few years, brother.
I didn't pick him for the last few years.
No, I'm just saying you've picked the winners.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's true.
That was kind of my point.
Anyway, Alonso shouldn't have hurried back, by the way. But I understand why. Because
Tell me why, brother. Tell me why, because I have my own theory on this.
I think this is where he has established himself. And, even though he gives away the money he's won, which I wouldn't have done.
Did he?
Well, not this year, but I'm talking about
the years that he's won. Who did he give it away to?
He gave some of it away.
Some is not all. I mean, it's $1 million. I don't think he's giving away $1 million.
When you're getting paid under $1 million and you can win $1 million,
that's my point.
I'm sorry, I keep it.
So would I. Go buy your parents a house or something.
Buy yourself a house.
Well, the point being that I wasn't happy that Alonso participated this year, and the reason why is this: he rushed himself back from the wrist injury to get back, and I give him credit for it. It's a gutsy thing to do. He seems to be playing in pain, but the fact is that after his return from the injury, he's been batting about 150 since then. So to me, it's pretty obvious that he's still hurting.
Right.
Because 150 is terrible. So why doesn't Pete Alonso say, hey, you know what? I could have 5 days off where I'm just packing my wrist in ice and doing whatever stim work I can do. That's like electric stimulation.
Right.
And I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to put my wrist on my nice, comfortable couch arm and just let it sit there and heal as much as it can in 5 days. And instead, he goes to Seattle and is taking massive hacks and trying to hit a baseball 500 feet, which can't do anything good for your wrist.
No, but I understand why he was there. So.
I mean, I understand why he went, and he's one of the best power hitters in the game, and he's a guy who's won this competition twice, and it means something to him. It's obvious that it means something to him, but that's a situation where you need to be smart, and you need to be a team guy, and you need to say, you know what, 5 days off, 5 days with no swings, 5 days of rest and healing for my wrist. That is more important than going and trying to win what's basically a meaningless competition.
Right.
Yes, there's $1 million on the line, and that has to be motivating to a young player who's not making $25 million a year yet. But it would have been the right move. Would have been stay home. Don't swing a bat for 5 days,
right.
And do everything you can to heal and to start the second half in a better frame of health.
I agree, and like we said, Mets have to be 50-22, and it's looking like it's not going to happen. Anyway, brother, we're going to take a break right now. Give us a call if you want, 516-572. Actually, not if you want. Call us, 516-572-7440. My name is Rob Leonard. He is Tim Leonard. This is From the Press Box on 90.3 WHPC.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by Pantanos, with 4 locations, including Pantanos Gourmet in Hewlett and Uniondale, and Pantanos Does Bagels in Garden City Park, and now open at 197 Atlantic Avenue in Freeport.
At Pantanos Gourmet, it's always breakfast time. Fresh cracked eggs, hand-rolled bagels, fresh brewed coffee, and more is always available. Why cook? Pantanos delivers. More information and the full menu is available online at pantanosgourmet.com.
And I love greatbagels.com.
Oh, Pantanos! This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by the Enza Brandy Law Firm, a full-service law firm that works with litigation, personal injury, real estate, and trusts and estates. The Enza Brandy Law Firm is located at 33 Walt Whitman Road, Suite 203 in Huntington. If you are looking to purchase your first home or seek compensation for injuries, you may get more information about the Enza Brandy Law Firm, 631-757-7471, or online at enzabrandylawfirm.com. That's ENZABRANDI law.com.
Okay. Yo. Tell your friends about the Nassau Morning Madhouse. Hear what you're missing. Check it out.
So, during this one part, the lead singer would pull a fan on stage and sing to them. After he sings to them, he goes, you know what? I want you to take my guitar.
I would hate being pulled on stage. That would be so embarrassing.
That'd be my favorite thing ever.
I'm playing the guitar right now.
Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Here comes A minor. Oh, yeah, that's sexy. Is that turning you on right now, Jamie?
Don't call A minor sexy.
Is that turning you on right now?
You know what?
Wait. B major. Oh, that turns me on. Here comes B minor. What does this do for you? Oh, yeah.
Anything with the word minor in it, you should step away.
The Nassau Morning Madhouse. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9. Yeah. On the voice of Nassau Community College.
90.3 WHPC.
.3 WHPC. After this entire weekend, very appropriate song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome back. 516-572-7440. He's Tim Leonard. I'm Rob Leonard. We're here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. It becomes a podcast later on, a true podcast, unlike what Steve Mandracina, host of Everything and Anything every Friday from 6 to 8, says. He thinks it's not a true podcast. I said anything that's put up for streaming purposes is a podcast. But what's Steve Mandracina?
I do like it, brother, how you point at me when you say my name on the air.
Wow.
This is Tim Leonard, and you're pointing
Why
at me.
wouldn't
like
I?
that. Well, it's just like nobody can see you pointing.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's just the way it is.
It just amuses me.
Let's, as you know, brother, we are a soccer-friendly show.
Yes, true.
Let's bring in Lionel Messi. Let's talk about him. He's
Lionel Messi, brother.
Lionel?
Yes.
That's how you spell his name?
That's how he says it.
I like Lionel better.
Well, that's good for you. But
probably because he's from another country. That's probably why.
Well, he's from Argentina.
Yeah, so it's Lionel.
Lionel,
but I call him Lionel. Anyway, Mr. Messi has joined another weird name for the MLS, Inter Miami CF.
Yes.
What does CF stand for, brother?
Football club.
You know, again, it's supposed to be FC. I'm sorry.
No, it is CF, but it's Miami, so they say Club de Football.
See, this is why the MLS is stupid.
Well, Spanish. A lot of Spanish speakers in Miami.
Yeah, it's a lot of Spanish people.
They're trying to relate to them.
A lot of Spanish people in Hempstead too. When you go down to Flushing Meadow Park, they're playing soccer on the weekend. So there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But anyway, Messi has signed
finally
with Miami.
The worst kept secret maybe in sports
Wasn't
history.
he supposed to sign with like Saudi Arabia or a team in Saudi Arabia? They offered him like $1 trillion or something.
He was certainly considering that, but he decided to come to MLS.
How do you turn down all that money?
I
mean, I could see
Messi's not hurting for money. Brother.
Yeah, I know that. That's the thing.
There's only so much money you can spend in your life, you know.
Well, I can spend a lot.
Messi's got more than he can ever spend already. So
it's like that movie with John Candy and Richard Pryor, where he has to spend $30 million.
Brewster's Millions.
Brewster's Millions. Thank you.
Not a problem.
So anyway, this is a big deal for the MLS. So
yes, very big deal. They're trying to sell it as that Messi. First of all, that Messi is still in his prime, which he's not.
Right.
Let's
but neither was Pele.
No, but Beckham was kind of in his prime when he came to MLS to the LA Galaxy. And I don't even want to say Thierry Henry was in his prime when he came to the Red Bulls because he was on the other side of his prime. And he wanted to come to he basically came to the Red Bulls because he wanted to hang out in New York. He got an apartment in the city, lived the life.
Well, he went to the wrong place. It's in Harrison, New Jersey.
Well, but it's easy to get to from Lower Manhattan where he was living.
Okay.
So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Thierry Henry took the PATH train to games because I don't know how many people would have actually recognized him.
You would have.
On the PATH. I would have, yeah, of course. But not many people on the PATH train would recognize him. But this is a big deal. It's a big deal for MLS, first of all, because it gives them name brand recognition. That's what Messi does. For Inter Miami specifically, they're a horrible team. Beckham has built a big pile of trash in Miami. They are the worst team in MLS right now. So I don't know how much Messi is going to do. And I was going to say by himself, but Miami also signed Messi's former Barcelona teammate, Sergio Busquets. So they now have two really good international players. I don't know what the other 9 are going to do and how much they can elevate their games. But don't expect Messi showing up to make Miami some sort of a contender to win a league or win a title. because they have a very long climb ahead of them.
Right, but the way you
just
sell
to get to the playoffs.
The way you sell it is you say, hey, one of the great players of all time is playing for your team.
They don't have to sell it. All of the tickets for Miami's games for the rest of the season are already sold out.
I'm not talking about Miami. I'm talking about like if they come to New York or they go to L.A. or Columbus or whatever.
Every ticket is sold out.
Like in New York. When they visit a team.
What part of my words are you not understanding, brother?
So it didn't matter if he signed.
It did matter because they bought those tickets because he signed.
No, I'm not talking about in Miami. I'm talking about like
everywhere.
Okay.
I don't know how else to say it.
Okay, so they
when Miami comes to the Red Bulls to play, comes to New Jersey to play Red Bulls, sold out. When they come to NYCFC to play that team, sold out.
Okay.
It's if you want to go see Messi next year. Not this year, unless you want to buy tickets from
Scalpers. How long is his contract for?
I don't know. That's the one thing that I read from the ESPN story that really annoyed me, because all it said is that he had signed a multi-year contract. I want to know what the terms are. Messi's making a ton of money from MLS. I can guarantee you that.
Right.
And he's making so much that it wouldn't surprise me if some of the other teams kicked in a little bit. Because I don't know that Miami is paying his entire salary by themselves.
Should.
Well, like I said, he's selling out games before he even shows up. If Messi gets hurt and doesn't play against the Red Bulls, let's say in New Jersey, those tickets are bought. It's not like people are going to get refunds. So he has caused a lot of excitement and will continue to cause a lot of excitement because next year when those tickets go on sale, believe me, Miami is going to be the hot ticket in the league. People want to be able to see him live. And I think that's part of why Messi came here, is because nobody cares about Saudi Arabia as far as sports goes.
No.
The only reason anybody's playing in that league, Ronaldo is now playing in that, Cristiano Ronaldo is now playing in that league, and some other players are going, the only reason they're doing it is to make money. It's their final money grab for a bunch of guys who already have more money than they'll ever know what to do with. Cristiano Ronaldo certainly doesn't need more money. There's who was it from Liverpool who was supposed to be going there? Who I heard was going to be making £700,000 a week, £700,000 a week, which is actually more than $700,000. But that's why players are now thinking about Saudi Arabia. But if you go to play in that country, you're going to play in a vacuum.
Right.
Nobody cares about that league. And I'm not saying that MLS has any kind of an impact around the world, but at least in Europe, people, they may not pay attention so much, but at least they kind of know what's going on. Saudi Arabia, that's not the case. I don't know of anybody or anywhere where you're going to get scores from the Saudi Arabia League. I don't even know what the Saudi Arabia League is called. So that is at least my European friends know MLS or Major League Soccer. So there is some relevance to it. And they know it because players have either gone from MLS to play in the Premier League or in Spain or Italy or wherever, or players have come from Europe to play here. And obviously Messi is the biggest example of that to date. But that's why there is some knowledge and there is like some sort of working knowledge of, all right, yeah, we have a league here. It's obviously not as good as the Premier League because there's no, the money isn't there to spend.
But also, one thing about it's coming from America, and there is a certain look that Europeans have towards America, no matter what.
They love us.
Yeah,
they all want to come here.
Hey, when I went to London to visit Suzanne in 2013, and I'm watching the news, and it's 11:30 at night. And all of a sudden, Diane Sawyer comes on with ABC News. I'm like, what's this doing home?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I realized that I'm 5 hours ahead, so she was actually live.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess they care about what's happening in America.
They do.
And then a lot of their stories were about America.
We're the ones setting the trend for the world.
So I guess even if for a subpar league like MLS, they would have some sort of following, in Europe.
Yeah, and believe me, all my European friends, they still regard MLS as the place where players go to retire. But Messi's not quite there yet. I don't remember exactly how old he is. I want to say he's 34 or 36. But he's still got a couple years left. So I would assume this multi-year contract, I would hope that it's 3 years.
Right.
But I don't know. It could be 2. I don't know. Because this was some kind of shoddy reporting, to be honest with you. But
okay.
They're saying he's definitely the highest profile signing since Beckham, because Beckham was a worldwide figure, and like I said, Thierry Henry was a very well-known player, but Beckham is more well-known than Henry.
Beckham had pictures of him in his underwear. God, people lining up women were lining up outside the ad, like, take a picture with me next to his crotch.
Yeah.
From a distance, of course.
Classy. Stay classy.
Stay classy is right.
But so that's what we're doing. I wanted to say that Messi his first game with Miami, I think, is going to be next weekend. I want to say it's not. I don't think it's this weekend. I'm pretty sure it's next weekend.
Okay.
So he's gonna get some practice time in. He's been getting settled in Miami, and I think part of also why he chose to live here is because I think he thought he wouldn't be as recognized and hounded as much. I mean, he's got people camping out at his house in Spain, and when he was in Paris too, and especially when he's home at Argentina. But they put 20,000 people in a stadium yesterday for the announcement that he was signing, and these people stuck around despite the fact that it was pouring rain, thunderstorms for 2 hours. They had to delay the announcement. They still stuck around. So I don't know if Miami was necessarily the best place to go. Maybe he should have gone to Columbus if he wanted some quiet. But he's going to get himself a nice mansion in Miami or wherever in that area, and he's going to be.
Yeah, okay.
He's going to have his security, but he's still going to be that guy under the glass who doesn't have any privacy because he's really good at what he does, and that's the trade-off that you make when you're a worldwide transcendent athlete. You give up your privacy.
My judgment how a contract goes is by Pele. When he got signed by the Cosmos, one of the things he got was a recording contract with Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers was owned by Warner Communications, who owned the Cosmos.
Yeah, but you know why?
I know why. But
because it was like a salary cap thing, and that was their way around it.
I almost bought the record.
I'm sure it was awful.
I'm sure it was too, but that's why I almost bought it. When it first came out, I still remember because that picture of him in Giant Stadium.
Right, but Messi's not doing any recording contracts.
No, neither is Beckham. And of course, Beckham's married to Spice, not
Posh
Spice.
Victoria Beckham.
Yeah. So anyway, good for the MLS. You get some things going. I'm glad all the games are sold out, but a lot of the games are sold out anyway. They're 25,000 seat arenas, so they don't have to sell 50,000.
Let's not poo-poo, brother. Let's not do that.
Oh, I am.
That's what they have. There's a lot of stadiums in Europe that are 25,000 seats. It's better for viewing. You don't need 60,000 seat stadiums necessarily, unless you're a massive club like Tottenham Hotspur. But there's a lot of stadiums in the Premier League that are only like 35 or 40,000 seats. So come on, let's not go there.
I just did. So
yeah, I know.
And anyway, yesterday also, brother. This was on ESPN, though ESPN doesn't make it special the way NBC did. Sunday at Wimbledon was not the same thing. Carlos Alcaraz.
Alcaraz. His name.
I like Alcatraz better.
Yeah, well, his mother doesn't, so...
Carlos Alcaraz. Thank you.
Very good.
He won his second Grand Slam in less than a year, defeating Novak Djokovic. 1-6, 7-6, 6-1, 3-6, 6-4.
It's a pretty impressive match.
One of the longest matches ever. 4 hours, 42 minutes. In Wimbledon history, we should say. It was a great game.
Third longest final.
Great. I mean, it's just like, wow. I was watching the rerun at 12 o'clock, and it was very good. Though they cut out so much of it.
Oh, of course. They're not going to show all 4 hours and 42 minutes on a replay. They could probably, what did they do, edit it down about 3 hours?
It was 3 hours with commercials.
Yeah.
So,
just cut a whole set out, probably.
It was more than that.
You could have cut out most of the first set.
Yeah.
And probably most of the second set, the third set, too. Because
they cut out some of the third. All of a sudden, they were in the fourth.
Yeah, because Djokovic won the first set convincingly, and Alcaraz won the third set convincingly. So play the second set when they went to tiebreaker, then fourth set, fifth set, and you got a TV show.
Yeah, well, that's what you got. I always like listening to McEnroe do the game. I don't know who the ESPN announcer was, but Didn't they used to have a second announcer? Wasn't Pam? It wasn't Pam Shriver. It was Mary Carrillo.
Mary Carrillo.
You don't see her. She used to be with McEnroe, and I always liked that Queens thing going back and forth between them.
Well, I don't know. I met Mary Carrillo a couple of years ago at the U.S. Open. So
right.
We had a nice chat.
Well, I should have invited her on the show. Well, yeah. So anyway, it was a great match. This is what tennis needs to continue. You need to have the big four be something that people want to watch so they can watch it, maybe other of tennis events. Tennis is so weirdly watched because everyone watches, not everyone, but many people watch the four majors, but you couldn't tell anywhere where they might be playing. Cincinnati, New York. Does New York even have anything? Well, besides the U.S. Open, of course. But do you think they'd have a regular one
in terms of tournaments? You mean?
Yeah,
what you're saying.
Like at the Garden, they used to have a thing at the Garden all the time.
Oh,
they don't have that.
They don't have that anymore.
No, so.
At least I don't think they do. They just have exhibitions. Like McEnroe's played a couple of exhibitions at the Garden, like with Agassi.
Right. Yeah. Well, those.
That's just to sell tickets.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah.
Anyway, brother, what do we got here? We got the Jets or Giants. You pick.
Do Jets first. Do the good news first.
Okay. Hurry up.
I'm always a good news first kind of guy.
Thank you.
The Jets signed defensive lineman Quinnen Williams to a 4-year extension for $96 million. That includes $66 million guaranteed. That happened on Thursday. This was the largest guarantee in franchise history, surpassing the $51 million guarantee that the Jets gave C.J. Mosley in 2019. All of that is according to ESPN, by the way. The good news about this, brother, besides the fact that Quinnen Williams is a stud and is an outstanding player who deserves to get paid, is that this is the first time that the Jets have re-signed any of their first-round picks. They did not sign any of them between 2012 and 2018. So that means that the Jets are making first-round picks who aren't becoming the building blocks of their franchise as they should be. So Quinnen Williams is one of those guys. Now, down the line, I see Garrett Wilson being one of those guys. I see Sauce Gardner being one of those guys. That the Jets need to re-sign these guys to have the makings of a Super Bowl team.
Right.
So that's why this deal for me is significant. Congratulations to Quinnen Williams. Made the Pro Bowl last year, had 12 sacks, really came on last year, and was the centerpiece of that Jets defense, and that should continue for the next couple of years anyway.
Okay, well, I'm hoping the Jets, with Aaron Rodgers now, and maybe they're going to be Hard Knocks is going to help them or something. Focus, I don't know.
No.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's a distraction.
I know, but you never know.
That's why Saleh doesn't want it.
Well, maybe it will help. Anyway, I look forward, I feel good for the Jets this year forthcoming.
So far, so good.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
there's nothing negative around the Jets right now. So yeah, I mean, it's easy to feel positive about what's going on. They have an established quarterback. Granted, the quarterback is old, and I mean, for me, Aaron Rodgers is a lot like Justin Verlander. He's old. He's done it before, but what level will he be on this season as he ages? When your age starts with a 4 as a professional athlete, you can't expect what the guy gave you when his age started with a 2 or a 3.
Right, but Tom Brady did well for a while in his 4. So
he was a unicorn.
Yeah. So
the other thing, brother, very quickly, the Giants
hurry up
have to get a long-term deal done with Saquon Barkley by 4:00 today. Otherwise, it could jeopardize his 2023 season. He will not be eligible to be re-signed until after the 2023 season if the Giants don't get a long-term deal done today. Today is the deadline.
They will. As always, something happening after our show.
Yes.
Anyway, brother, a couple of things. Don't forget, on Tuesdays, we have a show here called Alternative to What? Playing the best in alternative music from the 90s to now. Hosted by Gray Wilson. Listen to artists like Nirvana, Weezer, White Stripes, and more. That's Alternative to What? Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here on 90.3 WHPC. And your weather on this hot as hell day, powered by Pantanos, with locations in Hewlett, Uniondale, Garden City Park, Freeport, and now open in Levittown. This afternoon, mostly sunny, mostly sunny. It'll be high about 87 degrees, but it's going to feel like it's in the 90s. There's going to be a very short breeze of 8 miles per hour. Humidity is going to be 52%. We're talking
sounds gross.
Really bad. Tim says, well, why do you hang with the radio station so much? Well, the AC is on,
Yeah.
and I can hang out here.
There you go.
Tonight, it's going to be mostly clear.
And Big Ed is here, too.
And it'll be lows about 75. And tomorrow, well, it's going to be more of the same. It's going to be...
Don't you like that the rest of the week, brother?
Yeah, I know. So I'll just say...
80s, humid and gross.
Yeah. Anyway, currently it's 79 degrees outside our studios at Nassau Community College. My name is Rob Leonard. Thank you for listening to our show. Coming up next is Big Ed, and you will be listening to him with the Good Gold Show. That is Tim Leonard. I am Rob Leonard, and yes, I did point at him.
Pointing at me again.
I did point at him, and I will, because that's what I do.
It cracks me up.
Anyway, take care, and bye-bye.
The views expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College. Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail at WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York 11530. Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.